Hey, my third grade mathematicians. Today we are going to begin working on fractions as numbers on the number line. We began learning about fractions on a number line when we left in March. So the first couple of days is going to be a review. So we are learning to place fractions on a number line with the endpoints of 0 and 1. Let's start out by counting by eighths from 1/8 to 8/8 and then back to 0. Ready, count. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8, 8/8, 7/8, 6/8, 5/8, 4/8, 3/8, 2/8, 1/8, 0/8. Let's continue with fifths. We'll stop at 5/5. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, 5/5, 4/5, 3/5, 2/5, 1/5, and 0/5. Now let's count by thirds. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 3/3, 2/3, 1/3, 0/3. And finally with fourths. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 4/4, 3/4, 2/4, 1/4, 0/4. Excellent job. Let's continue. Our application problem for the day. You have this problem in your packet, so you need to make sure that you've turned to that page where the application problem is. And at any time you need to stop the video, please do, and work, and then you can restart it. So let's read the problem together. Everyone ready? Read. Mr. Ray is knitting a scarf. He says that he has completed 1/5 of the total length of the scarf. Draw a picture of the final scarf, label what he has finished and what he still has to make. Draw a number bond with two parts to show the fraction he has made and the fraction he has not made. So first off, let's think about what this story is about. Tell someone at your house right now what this story is about. Yes, this story is about Mr. Ray. He's knitting a scarf. He finishes part of it, but he doesn't finish the other part. So, what important information do we know? He has completed 1/5 of the scarf. That is the most important thing that we know about that scarf right now. And what do we have to do? In order to solve this problem, what do we have to do? We have to draw a picture. We have to label what he has finished and what he still has to make. So those things are very important. Draw a picture of the final scarf. Label what he has finished and what he still has to make. Draw a number bond with two parts to show the fraction he has made and the fraction he has not made. So on your paper where you have your application problem, I want you to draw a picture of Mr. Ray's scarf. Now, if I was drawing it, I would draw Mr. Ray's scarf. That looks kind of like this, and yours may be different than mine. And how many parts am I going to partition this scarf into? Since he's completed 1/5, then we know that our fractional unit is fifths. So let's partition this scarf into 5 equal parts. Remember, try to get them as close to equal as you can, but it probably will not be perfect. Now, we have partitioned it into 5 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each part we know is going to be 1/5. So let's label each unit as 1/5. Now, in our story, it says that he completed 1/5. So right here, we're going to label that what he's already made. And this is what he has not made. That is what he has not made. So how much of his scarf has he not made, or that how much does he still have to make? We have 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. So he still has to make 4/5. He still has to make 4/5. Sorry, my writing is not good, but it's hard to write on this. Now it also says to draw a number bond. So let's draw a number bond. We know that this number bond is 1 whole scarf. We know that he has made 1/5, and he still has to make 4/5. Okay, so we know that he still has to make 4/5 of the scarf. Excellent job, and if you need a little more time on this, remember to push pause, and then you can restart it when you're finished. Okay, so today, as I said, we're learning to place fractions on a number line with endpoints of 0 and 1. So get out your fraction strips that you have in your back, and I want you to get out the fraction strip that shows 1 whole. It will look just like my fraction strip that I have up on the screen. Now I want you to draw a horizontal line that's just a little bit longer than your fraction strip. So draw your horizontal line just a little bit longer than your fraction strip. Let me try that again. So it's just a little bit longer. Now, that fraction, that number line that's just a little bit longer, I want you to make a small mark on the line that is even with the left end of your strip. So right here is where it would be, and then this end would go right here. That end point would go right there. So label the mark right here as 0 and this as 1. Now this arrow shows that our number line goes on and on and on and on. So does everyone have this? And this shows 1 whole. It tells us that this is the whole length of this strip. Okay, let's continue. I want you now to get out your fraction strip that shows halves. It will look just like my fraction strip does on your screen. How many equal parts would you have if you had halves? 2 is exactly right. So now I want you to draw a horizontal line that is a little longer than your fraction strip, just like we did in the last one. So draw a horizontal line that's just a little bit longer so we can label those endpoints. And sorry, I had to do mine a couple of times. So let's label these endpoints. We have 0 and we have 1. Put your arrow showing that the number line is continuous and it keeps on going. Now make a mark in the center where you have a where the fraction strip is divided to show that this is 1/2 of that fraction strip. So label it 1/2. That fraction is 1/2. And let's also go back and let's label where we have the 0. Let's label that 0 halves and 2 halves. 0 halves and 2 halves. All right, does everyone have that? Now remember, fractions are numbers, and it's really important that we understand that fractions are numbers. Let's start on the left-hand side and let's read those fractions. 0 halves, 1 half, 2 halves. Now let's continue. This time I want you to get out your fraction strip that shows thirds. How many equal parts do you have? Yes, you have 3 equal parts. Now remember, fractions are numbers. And we're going to label this number line. Draw your number line just like we did before, a little bit longer. Put your tick marks to show the endpoints of 0 and 1. And your arrows showing that a number line just keeps on going. Now we said that we have 3 equal parts, so let's put a tick mark here and a tick mark here to show there's 1, 2, 3 equal parts. Let's label these. We know this is 0 thirds, 1 third, 2 thirds, and 3 thirds. So we've labeled all of those fractions. 3 thirds is equal to 1 whole. Now let's read these together. 0 thirds, 1 third, 2 thirds, 3 thirds. Excellent job, boys and girls. Now let's continue. Now also I want you to find your fraction strip that shows fourths. How many equal parts do you have? 4, yes. Draw your number line and partition it into 4 equal parts and label the fractions on the number line. I want you to continue with sixth and eighths. Now, very important that you pause your video right now so that you can finish your number line. So what do both the number bond and the number line show? Some of you may have chosen to draw number bonds to go with your number line. If you didn't, that is fine also. A number bond and the number line both show how many fractional parts there are in a whole. If you have halves, you have 2 fractional units. You have two parts. If you have thirds, you have 3 parts. So that's what a number bond and a number line will show. So how can number lines help you to make a number bond? If you partitioned your number line into 4 equal parts, then you know that your number bond would need 4 legs or 4 arms on it. And that is how it can help you. So let's do some guided practice. And you can continue to work on the page that you have in your packet to do this work on. So you have a number bond over here, and the unit is halves. So we're going to partition this fraction strip into halves. We know that would be 2 equal parts. And we're going to label this fraction, this number line, and partition it into halves as well. So this would be 0 halves, this would be 1 half, and this would be 2 halves. Now let's do the same thing with eighths. If we have eighths, we're going to need 8 equal parts. So we have 4 equal parts now. Now let's partition each of those parts in half. And now we should have 8 equal parts. Let's count and see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do the same thing on our number line. So we know this is 0 eighths, 1 eighth, and we continue to go until we get all the way to the end with 8 eighths. So today, boys and girls, we have worked on placing fractions on a number line with the endpoints of 0 and 1. I need for you to work on your problem set that's inside your packet. Do all of the front page and number 2 on the back. Work hard, do a great job, and if you need me, you know where to contact me.